It's the Odd Drunk Podcast, a very strange podcast, the drunkest show in the world. It's Jackson and Colton talking out of their ass. We don't care as long as drinks are poured. Sometimes we have our friends here. We will talk about anything. We don't care as long as we have beer. And if you let that whiskey ring. The Odd Drunk Podcast. Hey, everybody. I don't know what's so funny. I don't know what's so funny about it. But welcome back to the Odd Drunk Podcast, colloquially known as the Odd Drunk Pod. That's what I'm starting to brand it as now. Odd Drunk Pod. Short, sweet, and simple.
I noticed it. It makes sense, though. It's nice.
It's our Instagram handle, too, at Odd Drunk Pod. Anyways, today, we're recording an unusual time for us. It's like 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah, just about.
But we are going to be discussing the video games of 1991.
Yeah.
Video games in time. We previously we did the 2012 episode back on. It was episode 101.
Yeah.
It was right after our 100th episode special. Which, if you've been listening or if you're new. If you're new, go listen to it without any context. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, and if you follow us on Instagram, you already know that we already recorded this episode. But due to unforeseen circumstances, the recording is unusable.
I fucked up.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
It was an act of whatever you believe in. It really was an act of Colton fucking up.
I forgot.
But we all make mistakes.
I forgot to plug in the microphones.
Yeah. But we never knew the whole time we were recording because as far as the headphone amp and everything, it sounded right.
Yeah.
And by the time we got done recording, Colton virtually immediately said, I forgot to plug in the mixer.
Yeah,
but anyways,
right away.
And we were, deciding whether or not to post the episode on time, but shitty quality. Because I honestly think it was a good episode.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the quality. However, I am glad we got more time for this.
Yeah,
actually.
Same.
And to make up for it, we will be releasing this episode today.
Yeah.
On Monday, the 21st.
As we're recording this is live.
I mean, this is going to be the most live experience you've ever experienced as far as our podcast goes.
Yeah, the most live ever. That concert you went to, that wasn't really live.
This episode will be up Monday, the following week, instead of when it was supposed to come out Friday.
Yeah.
But if you're listening, it's already out. That's how it works, Colton. Isn't that crazy?
I'm not going to think about it too much.
This episode is already out.
Is it?
Yeah, the people, that guy listening on his trip home or in bed, whatever you're doing, my friend, this episode's already out. I don't want to weird you out, though.
I'm
perfectly weirded out. I'm
very weirded out.
Hey, we are the Odd Drunk Podcast, so it makes sense if we're a little weirded out here. That, as our slogan goes, we like weirding you wackadoos out.
Yeah,
your new slogan. Anyways, so what we did on the 2012 episode, we looked at the video games that came out that year and determined whether if it was a good year or not for video games as a whole. And essentially, we quickly found out that it's a very mid year.
Yeah, it was
not bad, not necessarily nothing stand out really.
There was a few good games, but it wasn't like
Mass Effect 3, which I know it has a lot of fans, but that's not a game that really hits me personally.
Yeah.
Dishonored, but it was a lot of sequels and a lot of just like yeah, that was a fine game, but nothing.
Yeah, it was just
game breaking.
It was just decent.
No pun intended.
It was fine.
So yeah, we're here to talk about. We're traveling back in time, to the year 1991.
Yeah, we're like
Seattle.
We're like a Hacker Man.
Yeah, like Hacker Man.
We hacked ourselves back into time.
Yeah, I saw this skit
into retro.
I forgot where
world.
the skit came from, but it was like a heist movie, and they were assembling the team, but it turned out the whole team was the hacker guy. Everybody was a different kind of hacker guy.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
yeah, it was pretty good.
I was thinking
it might have been a Corridor Digital thing. I can't remember.
Yeah,
it seems like something they would do.
I was thinking about Kung Fury, that movie.
Yeah,
where it's like I need to go back in time to the Viking Age, and the hacker man hacks him back into time.
Yeah, and there's laser dinosaurs.
Oh yeah. He's like he goes back in time and he's like, "What time period is this?" And she's like, "The Viking Age." He's like, "That explains the laser velociraptors."
Yeah. Anyways,
great movie.
So we're gonna discuss the big games and games that we've played, not necessarily big ones that came out in 1991.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, yeah, it's a really good year.
Yep.
If you want to, well, keep listening, but just saying, it's a good year. And I think if you're into gaming, and especially retro gaming, you will know many of these games, if not all the big ones we talk. At least the big ones, you'll know them.
Yeah.
So, anyways, before we get into that, Colton, we got to discuss something.
Yeah.
Hey, we have a matter to settle.
Hey, Jackson.
Hey, Colton.
What are you drinking tonight?
What are you drinking tonight?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Jackson.
Because you're the only one that got something on theme.
Yeah, I got from Level.
In fact, I need a picture of that.
Level Beer Company. The Game On IPA, and
it's got like Mario, the original Mario graphics.
Yeah. Except instead of Mario, it's a guy like a hop farmer or whatever, a beer brewer.
It has a little guy on it?
A little guy on the side.
Oh, it is a hop farmer.
Hops, yeah.
Level Beer.
Looks like a hipster.
From Portland, Oregon. We've had a lot of good beers from Portland.
There's some good breweries out there. Rogue? No,
Rogue
Rogue.
is
Rogue?
in Oregon. I don't think it's Portland, though.
Fremont is from Oregon, I think.
Fremont. It's from Fremont.
Yeah.
Fremont, Oregon, I believe.
This is a good one.
But yeah, Oregon's good.
Ecliptic Brewing or whatever they're called. They're from
Portland. They're from Portland.
Yeah, with the Starburst IPA. Good IPA, I'd say. Yeah, this is a good one. It's pretty hoppy. It's
I'm gonna try it if you don't mind.
I do not mind. Yeah.
Because, in fact, I should put these in the fridge in a second. It's for a future episode. We're not banking them.
No. Why would we do that?
Why would we have to do that?
We're not nerds.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm going to try it. Level Brewing's Game On.
We've had...
Didn't he have the Zelda one?
Yeah. So they have another beer that has like a Zelda-themed artwork on it. And we had that on another episode. It might have been on the last video game episode that we had it. I'm not sure.
That's a refreshing IPA. It's
on the hoppier side, but it's not.
But not too much. It's not overblown, and it's what I expect from an IPA. Honestly,
yeah.
I mean, a hoppy beer.
I like it.
But no, it is good.
Yeah.
And like with any IPA though, they do decrease in quality the warmer they get. You don't want a warm IPA. It's got to be cold.
That's nasty. Warm IPA.
I've had them plenty of times.
Yeah.
In desperate circumstances.
Yes. I've had. I remember the good old days.
The college days.
The college days where I'd, wake up in the middle of the night, be like really thirsty after a night of drinking.
Just dehydrated, and then the only thing you have...
There's a beer in like reaching distance, and I'm like, fuck it. And I take a sip, and I immediately regret it because it was like a half-finished IPA that's been sitting out.
Yeah, I remember one time I woke up around 3 a.m, super dry mouth, because it gets dry here, and I've been running a humidifier lately for a lot of reasons, to help sinuses, but also just so dry here. But anyways, I woke up one morning, super dry cotton mouth, and the only liquid near me was a half-finished Modus Mandarina. That's been sitting for at least a few hours.
Yeah,
opened, so flat and warm.
And you have like that split moment, like decision-making process in your head.
Do I
where
get
you're
up?
like, do I get up and go get some water?
Yeah.
Or do I hope that this beer right here is refreshing enough? And it never is.
And I drank it, and I was like, this is awful, but I continued to drink it because it's all I had.
Yeah.
Desperate times.
I'm glad to say I don't do that anymore.
I do not. Yeah, not anymore. That's the old days.
I keep a glass of water.
Oh, I like the details in this beer as well. It says it's got like score points on the top. It's got beer bottle number 88.
Yeah, I don't know.
World 1-1 time 888. Wonder what the 8s mean.
I don't know.
Yeah, who cares? It says a big, juicy citrus hop aroma with lots of hop flavor, and moderate bitterness, balanced by smooth malt backbone. No, it's just the right amount of hoppy, I would say.
Yeah, it's
There's any more hop.
It's a pretty good one.
It would not.
And this was the last 6-pack at the store.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
And that's saying a lot considering you work at a liquor store.
Oh yeah. It was the last one we had.
Wow.
And I made sure to get it before someone else bought it.
First dibs.
Yeah. So yeah, level.
And did we rolled that intro a while ago, right? I would hope.
Yeah. It's happened.
It's happened.
It's
okay.
Come and it's gone.
I forgot to do my bit. I'm a little off my rocker today. Anyways,
it's a weird episode.
It's weird because we've already done this episode, and two, it's I've been a little bit under the weather, and I'm like now recovering, and I probably shouldn't be drinking, but I am.
Yeah,
and also it's like the middle of the day on a Monday. It's just weird.
Yeah, and
due to circumstances,
I got to pack tonight because I'm going out of town in the morning.
Yeah, for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Are you going to
up to Denver?
Beep.
Yeah.
You can bleep that if you want.
Yeah.
Just so you don't want people tracking you down.
Oh yeah, they'll track me down in a big city.
Yeah,
be like, you're that guy from that podcast
that I hate.
I'll be like, oh no, it's a rival podcast.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into this episode and let's make it as the least weird it can be. Anyways. Yeah, I know.
You got something.
I do have something.
Yeah,
oh my god, I forgot.
You should mention that.
And it's frustrating me. I have bamboo rum, and we've had it multiple times on the show by now.
Yeah, it's good.
I love it this time of year because it's a little bit on sweeter side. It mixes really well with eggnog if you want to try that out.
Yeah.
But you have to get the right brand. I guess Southern Comfort's okay. But there's a brand I found. It's not even like a big name brand. I think it's just like it might be Albertsons. They have a really good one.
Yeah.
But either way, and I'm talking about non-alcoholic Southern Comfort.
Yeah.
But anyways, bamboo rum. Yeah, it's a little bit on the sweeter side, but it's a really good just standalone. Like it doesn't. You can enjoy that even if you're not like a rum drinker or just an alcohol drinker where you sip on it. I think this would be a good entryway because it's on the sweeter side. It's got some vanilla notes. Some may say it's vanilla forward.
Hey Jackson, isn't that what they called you in high school?
Yeah, there you go. That's a callback. But no, it's a really good rum. It's one of my favorites now. If I want just a more traditional tasting rum from them, I'll get their 20-year reserve.
Oh,
it's in the black bottle. It's it's going to be a little bit harder hitting, rum. I mean, there's no other way to explain it. It's just stronger, but not really much stronger in percentage, just in taste. But bamboo's just original. I definitely recommend always.
It's pretty good stuff. I like that stuff a lot. We like rum here on the pod.
Like drinking this, it's just satisfying. It's just really, it's comforting. It doesn't feel like I have to.
Yeah.
I don't have to like prepare myself for it. There's some drinks that even I like that I have to prepare myself.
Yeah,
like, I'm like,
I've definitely
take a breath. All right.
Yeah, there's a there's a few like that.
But no, this one's really easygoing. I mean, really smooth, but not too sweet. If you don't like liqueurs, it's not like that. But it's just like the perfect balance. Anyways, let's get into this episode.
Let's do that.
So, the video games of 1991.
Yeah, we picked this year through a random year generator.
Yeah, because for the first one, we went back 10 years. We did 2012. We were like, that was a very mid-year. But yeah, in this one, random year generator.
Yeah.
You got 91. I got 2014.
Yeah. 2014's not bad.
It's not as bad as we remembered. We looked it up.
Yeah, it's
but we went with 91. We wanted to go back further, And we both have a Nintendo Switch, the OLED one, which is really nice. I recommend it if you're looking for a new console or you're wanting to upgrade.
Yeah.
The OLED is like the perfect Switch.
It's worth the extra $50, I think.
I prefer playing it on its screen, just the portable mode, or just
a really nice screen
on the table, because it's just really bright colors. All the pixels really shine. It's just really satisfying. And it's the Switch, so put it on your TV, take it with you to work, whatever. I mean, I would say,
like
as much as I love what next gen graphics have done, the Switch is probably probably the best console to come out.
It's so convenient.
Just because it's so convenient. It's so just easy. I mean,
as someone with like a full-time job and stuff going on, it's so much easy. I don't know. Sometimes
when you don't have to take up the whole TV, you can play in your bed, but if you want,
it's like sometimes I get home from work late at night and it's like I don't want to sit down on the couch.
You just
and boot up the TV and all that to start playing.
Lay down, play some games. Yeah,
I can just it feels easier to pull out the Switch and lay in bed and play it for half an hour. Kind of like how some people read a book before they go to bed.
Yeah, it's like that. But
play a half hour of Zelda before you go to bed.
And with the Joy-Cons, you can play a lot of 2-player games just with the Joy-Cons it comes with.
Yeah, it's
a little limiting, but still, you can do it. You don't have to buy another $70 pair of Joy-Cons or another controller.
Yeah. They do make some
the wired ones are
like
way cheaper,
$30-$40.
And then there's aftermarket wireless ones that are a lot
Although
cheaper.
I have used the Pro controllers and they are
really nice.
Very nice controllers, yeah.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Borat episode, we have one.
That's a weird one.
It's an old one too, so Speaking of very important and influential consoles, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the SNES, SNES.
That's like where we were going with the Switch.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about the Switch there,
which is also obviously Nintendo, unless you've been living under a rock for
but the
30 plus
Switch
years.
Online has the emulators for the SNES.
Yes,
the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it stands for.
That is what it stands for. And I did have some facts about it. Where did those go? Okay, yeah, here we go. So,
right,
sorry, I was gonna try to make it a little bit more organic.
This is one of
not
those
as prepared.
This is one of those episodes where I feel tired, even though I slept 8 hours.
Yeah,
and didn't go to work today or anything. Yeah.
No, but I will say, like I said earlier, I'm glad we had more time to play these games. Actually, because now I can say even more, and now I can be maybe a little bit more critical, and not as just like foaming at the mouth about classic games.
I'm just gonna foam at the mouth. I'm gonna stick to that.
Well,
tactic.
there's some things I gotta get out there, but so yeah, the first major 16-bit console wasn't the SNES. It was actually the Sega Genesis, which beat it by 2 years, released in 1989. and SNES when it released in Japan until November of 1990, and then it would release North America in 91.
Because the NES was just still selling so well.
Yeah, the NES was making record sales even at that time.
Yeah,
years after its release.
Genesis was good though. It's the Genesis does what Nintendo don't. I almost said Nintendo can't.
Almost. How would you ruin that? We would, wouldn't we?
That's definitely something I would ruin.
Well, and the Sega, obviously, in 91, which is the year we're talking about, Sonic released. The first Sonic game, Sonic
probably
the
the biggest
probably
Sega
is,
game.
Oh,
yeah.
Sonic is Sega's main mascot in game series.
It's the competitor to Mario.
It's the competitor to Mario, but now it's even more successful than Mario in some ways. I mean,
in some ways,
we haven't had a bad Sonic movie. We've had a bad Mario movie. A really weird one.
Yeah.
Now, the Sonic movie could have been bad if they went with the original design.
Yeah.
For Sonic.
Yeah, the weird human Sonic.
Yeah, with human teeth and eyes.
Yeah.
Is a little weird.
But they redesigned it.
Little weirdo.
Yeah.
And Ugly Sonic is actually in the Chip and Dale reboot movie.
I think I mentioned in the original take of this that apparently the guy who designed Sonic for that movie did not wait for studio approval to start redesigning it after the backlash.
Yeah, as soon as that released, everyone flipped out. I don't even like care. Well, I'm not there. Sonic has a huge fan base and a really weird fan base.
It's such a weird fandom.
We did a creepypasta episode a while ago, and a lot of them are Sonic based.
Yeah, it's really really odd.
And then you have everything with Chris Chan and that whole thing. Yeah. And then Sonic memes and
no shame if you're a big Sonic fan. I like Sonic,
And I heard Sonic Frontiers is actually a lot better than we thought it would be. And because I remember from like some of the early footage they showed, just Sonic running on a field and then doing a loop-de-loop every once in a while. And I was like, they went open world with it, but
before they had released like the title of it and just were like showing like footage.
No, but
everyone was joking like it's Sonic of the Wild.
Yeah, well, it's open world Sonic, but from what I've seen of it now, it looks really good. Like it does have those traditional tracks and stuff like throughout the map, and I might end up picking it up. It's on every platform too, since it's Sega, because Nintendo, they still, as far as their games go, they only release on Nintendos. They don't get a PC port.
Admittedly, it's one of the reasons to have a Switch these days.
So you can have Nintendo games.
Yeah, because,
and that's a smart move from Nintendo.
Breath of the Wild or the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Well, because
coming out next year.
As soon as
Definitely want to play that.
As soon as Nintendo starts putting their games on PC officially or something like that.
Nobody's going to buy
it. Because you won't have to.
Nintendo console anymore,
The only reason you would buy a Switch is, like what we said, for its nice features, but you wouldn't buy it for the games. You would buy it just to have the Switch.
Yeah. And at that point, buy a Steam Deck now.
And there's also that competitor. So, yeah, it's really smart that Nintendo doesn't do a lot of smart things as far as their franchises go. But as far as protecting their games, yeah, they're good at that.
Yeah.
But it's also as far as like the movies and stuff go, like they've canceled so many projects that didn't even get off the ground. But we do have the Super Mario Brothers movie, which maybe we'll end up talking about because
it seems weird. I don't know how to. Feel
a lot of it seems really good. Like the animation's really good and crisp. It looks like 3D Mario, but just 4K'd.
Yeah.
However, Chris Pratt as Mario and not even doing an accent, like barely.
He doesn't just from
he's
the
just
trailer,
like, hey, it's me, Mario.
Yeah, just from the trailer, it's just like he doesn't seem like he's like trying.
And they actually have the original voice actor for Mario in the movie.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that, but they
know.
got Charlie Day as Luigi, which
That's
is
a
great.
good one. Jack Black is
Bowser. I didn't even know it was Jack
Black.
Black in the trailer. I didn't even know that was Jack Black until I
Yeah.
looked it up. I was like,
It's
he's
just-
actually trying a voice.
It's just Chris Pratt seems like just a very strange choice, and he doesn't seem like he's trying.
No, it
He
seems
was
like
he's a good voice actor too. He can be at least. In Lego Movie he was.
But in the
good.
Lego Movie, he was still just Chris Pratt.
Yeah,
but it didn't matter because he was a new character.
Yeah, but
I
it's
don't
just
think
weird.
that constitutes as a good voice actor. That's just you're a recognizable celebrity,
Yeah,
and that's why they picked him.
yeah. It's just a weird choice.
Yeah, but the trailer, I'm still gonna see it. I'm gonna see it.
Yeah.
Maybe not opening weekend or anything like that, but I'm gonna see that movie. But anyways, going back. Also, I guess that counts as a tangent point. Let me introduce the tangent points.
Right,
That's an
right.
organic way to introduce it, Colton.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a new tangent point system that came out a few weeks ago, and basically as soon as we go off topic, now this only counts after the intro.
Yeah.
The intro, we can talk about whatever's happened in our lives or what we're drinking, whatever. But as soon as we start talking about topic and then we go off topic, that's a tangent.
Yeah.
We all know that. And the rules are 3 strikes, you're out. You get 3 tangent points, you have to take a shot.
Mm-hmm.
You can veto them, the points, but you would have to take that shot on immediately on the next episode.
Yeah. It would start with.
So if you start with 3,
Yeah.
if you have 3 tangent points by the next episode, which the only way that will happen if we both agree to veto it,
Yeah.
then you have to take a shot.
Yep. So we're gonna keep track of those
We're
tangent.
gonna keep track of
points.
them. So we got 1 tangent point for this episode so far. And it doesn't matter if it's just one of us that did it.
We both get the tangent points.
Yeah, we're
we're in it
ride
together.
or die. Yeah, we're in it together. Anyways, so going back to 91 and
Yeah.
with the SNES and Genesis and everything. So when the Genesis launched, it only had 3 titles: F-Zero, Pilot Wings, and Super Mario World, all which I've played.
When the SNES launched,
when the SNES launched.
you said Genesis.
I said SNES.
I thought you said Genesis.
I said Genesis before that earlier.
Oh. No.
Don't mess with my mind like that, Colton. You can play it back if you think I said the Genesis at us.
I'm probably wrong.
Anyways, so yeah, Sega struck gold with Sonic in 91, but however, the SNES would dominate in sales. It would sell 49.2 million units compared to Sega's 29 million, which is still nothing to scoff at. But
Yeah.
also, that's compared to, I think the NES ended up selling like 89 million units.
Yeah, and the SNES like matched Sega sales like Sega's yearly sales within like 4 months of it releasing.
Yeah, it blew up. Of course it would, because the NES was still selling like hotcakes before that came out.
Yeah.
And the first console in Nintendo's lineup to beat, actually, I think out of any consoles, maybe, at least in Nintendo's lineup, the only console to beat the SNES wouldn't be until the Wii's release.
And I don't think Nintendo's matched the Wii's sales yet.
I don't think they have. Maybe the Switch.
The Wii was a fucking cultural
Everyone and their grandma.
phenomenon.
Actually, a lot of grandmas.
Yeah.
They still play Wii's at retirement homes.
Yeah.
Wii Sports.
Which is cool. Wii Sports was good.
Remember Matt
Yeah.
from Wii Sports?
Yeah.
He was like the top guy and everything. And there's like all kinds of memes. But anyways, so yeah, SNES, I mean, was huge. It wasn't the first console to use 16-bit graphics, but it was and it wasn't even like the Genesis had a better processor.
Yeah, yeah. It's the
It was
SNES
technically,
when they designed it, they got the guy who designed the NES out of retirement to help design it, and they put a big focus on like the colors and pixels on the screen to be able to like prioritize like the kind of the experience, not the raw power of it. You know?
yeah, like maybe you can't have as many moving enemies on screen or whatever,
but it's gonna look fucking good,
and they
You
do.
know?
They still look good. Like, well, yeah, they have some shitty looking games that are really dated, but like out of the games we played, I mean, they're just timeless. Like 16-bit graphics, I mean, indie developers still make games with 16-bit graphics, like Shovel Knight, for instance.
Yeah.
Hell, Undertale went back to 8-bit.
Yeah.
So it
It
proves that it works.
The SNES though is kind of the beginning of Nintendo. Nintendo's always had the kind of every console that comes out they prioritize the user experience over the raw power of the console.
Yeah.
It's always been the case. Even the Switch, which is actually like not bad for a Nintendo console as far as performance wise.
I mean, it can run the Witcher 3.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's actually a really good port.
Nice. I played Doom Eternal on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get a graphic downgrade, but it runs.
Yeah.
And it runs good enough.
Yeah, it's on sale right now.
I mean, yeah, I don't have that FPS counter on there, but I mean, it feels pretty good.
But yeah, but the Switch was underpowered when it came out, which is why some people think there's going to be a reveal of a new Nintendo console,
Switch
within the next
Pro,
couple years or something like that. But yeah, it started with the SNES, where they're like, we're going to prioritize the user experience, over processors and stuff.
And it turned out it worked.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're fortunate enough. You have emulators.
Mm-hmm.
I also have emulators, but mostly I've been playing them on the Switch.
Yeah.
I got to play all the major games that are on this list. And
as far as emulators go, the Switch Online ones are really solid.
Yeah. And, with the 2012 episode, no, we didn't bother playing those games. We remembered them enough. I didn't feel like I had to jump in to play them to remember.
Yeah, there were a few of them that I had played recently.
But for now on, we will play at least a couple of the games, depending on the year and depending on how accessible they are.
Yeah.
But we will try to play some of them so we have a direct hands-on
I hope
experience.
we don't get 2018.
I hope we do, because it has amazing games.
No, I hope we don't, because here's what's going to happen. Is I'm going to boot up Red Dead Redemption 2.
And that's going to be the only game you play.
I'm just going to get sucked into it and forget about playing all the other games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 2018 was...
Yeah. But with the Switch Online, we were able to play them. I do want to mention, I did use...
Well, speaking of 2018, I mean, God of War, Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption 2 all in 1 year. Wow.
But yeah, I also have an emulator going through a RetroArch emulator.
Yeah.
So I was able to play some of the Sonic.
Nice. I didn't get to play Sonic. But I've played it plenty in my life.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on it.
In fact, I was surprised
we'll get there.
because playing these old games in the past, way before planning this episode or anything, I was surprised how many of these games I've already played that are from 91.
Yeah.
Because 91, as it turns out, is just a huge year.
And let's also not forget, this is the heyday of the Game Boy as well.
Yeah, didn't the Game Boy release
89?
89, yeah.
Yep.
So
the Game Boy Color hadn't come out yet.
No, it was still black and white. And I have some Game Boy games I played.
And some of the most iconic Game Boy games didn't come out until the mid-90s.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon was like 94, 98 something, actually. It was late 90s.
Yeah.
But there are some solid Game Boy games from that era. And I've been recently very into the retro handheld community. So like I have a couple little retro handhelds that you can play like Game Boy stuff on. And they're very cool.
Yeah, you have that one emulator one, right?
Yeah, it's somewhere around here. It's way over there across the room. The BitBoy. Which, it's not the most powerful handheld emulator, but it's actually...
Can it run Yoshi's World?
No.
Okay, because I remember you said that's like the...
A lot of people use that as kind of
test.
a benchmark test for these retro handhelds.
Yeah.
Can they run Yoshi? It's like the can it run Crisis?
Can it run Yoshi's World? Yeah.
Or Yoshi's Island.
Yoshi's Island. Yeah, sorry. Yoshi's World wouldn't come out till later.
Yeah, that was...
64? Game?
Yeah, I think so.
The 3D one?
Yeah. But BitBoy is a solid one. It's not the most powerful one, but it's properly actually pocket-sized.
Yeah, and that's cool.
Some of them are like how the Nintendo Switch is pocket-sized. Quote unquote. Or the Switch Lite is
the Switch Lite could be
if you have a big pocket.
If you have a big pocket. The regular Switch, no. Yeah. You got to get your carrying case.
Anyway, so let's talk about some of the big games, and these are all games I've played. You can also pull up the list online, just in case there's any games there's definitely games we didn't get to play, and definitely some big ones we didn't get to play.
There's a few that we'll
let's start with a good baseline, Super Mario World.
Oh yeah.
And we've discussed it before, obviously, because we recorded this, but it's a good Mario game. I mean, it's just a nice 2D Mario adventure. It's got the colors and 16-bit graphics, good vibes. It introduces Yoshi. You get the Super Mario cape and everything. Yeah. And it's just a fun Mario game. But and I remember playing the Flash version all the time, like on Miniclip or on Newgrounds, wherever they had it. Yeah. And that was one of my earlier experiences with 2D Mario, actually, playing the Flash game online. But aside from Super Mario Bros. 3, which I believe is what came out before this one.
Yeah, that was the one before that.
The last one on NES, at least the last mainline one.
Yeah.
And like we discussed before, Super Mario Bros. 3 is the one I like to go back to even more. I
far prefer 3, but
Super Mario World, I mean,
it's still a solid Mario game.
Now,
and if you like Mario, you'll like it.
Technically, it came out in 1990 because it did come out right with the launch, the Japanese version of the SNES. But
the Super Famicom, yeah.
But it came out in late 1990, and it became big in 91, so we're going to count it.
Yeah.
We're going to count it. Yeah. Sorry.
The North American release was 91, so.
Now, some of these games, it goes the other way. So the 91 version actually came out in Japan, and then the North American one didn't come out in 92.
Yeah.
As long as it came out roughly in 1991 or around 1991, we're going to talk about it.
We're not super strict about it.
However, I shall say we will annex this from the official ranking of the year.
Yeah.
So not let it drag it down or give it any points.
Yeah.
So it won't go either way.
But we're still
going to talk about it.
Still played it a bit. And
I mean, I really love it, and I will play it more, but it's not one that I felt like I had to play. I was like, I know Mario.
Yeah, and my thoughts on Super Mario World is that the art style is fantastic.
Yeah, and you can use the same 16-bit graphics for Mario Maker. You can use the world style.
But it's kind of sluggish compared to Mario 3, and I feel like in some of the later Mario games they are also a little faster. It's just the Mario controls kind of sluggishly.
It feels a little just slightly off with the controls. Sometimes when I felt like I was jumping on a Koopa, it just felt like I had to really, maybe it was too precise almost with the precision.
Maybe. Yeah.
I felt like there wasn't enough room for error, and it was a little. It's actually, I would say, it's one of the harder Mario games.
It is. I've struggled with it more than some of the other ones. Yeah.
It plays.
I don't struggle with 3 nearly.
No.
Maybe I've played 3 more.
Well, 3 you're a wider Mario.
I know the levels more.
3's just wider. But no, I mean, and it's zoomed out a little bit more in Mario World. That's another thing that kind of gets, I think if it was a little bit tighter with the FOV and just had a more traditional Mario layout, it wouldn't feel that hard. But no, it's still a really good Mario game, and I like the cape, and I like Yoshi, and it's got great music. And
I like Yoshi. I like that you can sacrifice these little dinosaurs to make a bigger jump.
You can, and you will.
Yeah, you have to.
Because he doesn't have the running and jump feature, where he runs in the air. He doesn't have that in this one.
Yeah.
You just have to sacrifice him.
Yeah, and you also can do the regular jump or the spin jump.
Yeah,
you can knock enemies off with the spin jump.
Super Mario World as a baseline for this year, already a good start. I mean, it's not a mind blower, but it's just a really good Mario game. It's not. I don't think it needs to be any more than that.
Well, yeah, if I just had a SNES console, and that's one of the games I had. It's the only Mario game I could play. I'd be happy with it.
But I think its sequel is what would really take the series as a whole in a really great new direction. Is Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island.
Yeah.
Which is when we were talking about the benchmark one. Where it has like the cartoon like drawing graphics.
Also an important thing to note is that I guess if you include Yoshi's Island, that is the last side-scrolling Mario game until the Nintendo DS.
Yeah, until the new Super Mario Bros.
Yeah, which was like 2006. Something
yeah,
like
and I played that one. Whenever we get to that year, but yeah, Super Mario World. And then next on the list, I have probably as far as pop culture goes, we already talked about the guy, Sonic the Hedgehog, that blue fucker.
Little piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sonic has had 2 movies with James Marsden and Jim Carrey in it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
I love Jim Carrey
and
Dr.
James
Robotnik.
Marsden.
Yeah.
And whatever character he is. Cop?
Yeah.
Or just James Marsden.
It's good. It's
and I know in the sequel they go a lot more like this is just a Sonic game.
Yeah.
Like, he's Dr. Eggman now.
Oh yeah.
Because Robotnik and Eggman, was he Robotnik in the original game, Dr. Robotnik, or was he Eggman?
I
feel like it might have been Robotnik.
I don't recall. I think it was Robotnik. The thing with Sonic, so I played a bit of it on the RetroArch emulator this week, and I don't know. It's not that I don't like it at all. It's just that I prefer like more traditional, slower platformers over this. Sonic is a lot of like, at least the 2D ones are a lot of just like you just go fast and I don't know what the fuck is going on.
You gotta go fast.
Yeah. and like I remember it took me like several.
You don't really get to chew on it.
Yeah, it took me several
to enjoy the level design.
It took me several levels into it to like to kind of like get a hang of like what the fuck I was even doing.
Yeah, well,
not like get the hang of the controls, but it's like
for my more grown up sensibilities, I prefer a Mario.
Yeah.
But back when I was a kid, I thought Sonic was way cooler. Mario.
You gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah.
And I think it was a great showcase with 16-bit graphics and processing. I mean,
it's a beautiful game.
It's a beautiful game. I love the level design, going on the loop-de-loops, collecting the rings, and then losing all your rings when you touch one spiky guy. I hated it. But and then you have all the. I mean, Sonic is huge. It is. Out of all of these games, I could easily say, as far as pop culture significance,
this is the biggest one
because this is Sonic's first appearance ever as an IP in this
and,
game. It's not like we have some other games that are really huge. Well, obviously Mario, but that's already been out. And then we have some other games that, they're huge IPs.
It's the only
but they're not huge IPs because of the game.
Sonic is the only video game character that competes with Mario as far as like wide-reaching pop culture icon type of thing. I mean, like they've made games like Mario versus Sonic at the Olympics.
Yeah, well now they
because
collaborate.
That's the whole thing.
You have Sonic and Smash Bros.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And all the creepypastas, all the memes, all the fanfics, all the the movie. I mean, there's so much to Sonic.
Yeah.
As soon as you get into the deep Sonic lore,
and Sonic went edgy at
Shadow.
some point.
Yeah.
Mario never went edgy. They've never done edgy Mario.
Mario went. What Odyssey's a little edgy.
It does have that one like Dark Souls level,
which is a clear inspiration.
Really threw me off when I was playing.
No, I remember watching you play that level. I was like, "This is legit, just a Dark Souls level." Like, even the dragon looks like.
Look, and it also throws off because the rest of Odyssey is like your typical Mario stuff.
Well, it's got the real world, like you're in New York City.
Yeah, but it's
whatever.
still pretty typical Mario stuff. And then you get a Dark Souls level, and there's like a realistic like dragon.
Yeah, and it looks just like the one from Dark Souls 3.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is this?
No, but Mario's never gone full on edgy.
No,
I think the edgiest Mario's been is the Super Mario Bros. Movie, where you have
just a couple
the weird steampunk kind of.
Yeah, well, it's just like a couple fucking Italian plumbers
Yeah.
in
And
the sewers.
the Koopas. Bowser looks like a lizard, or it's King Koopa. It's not even Bowser in that, is it?
Yeah, it's King Koopa.
So it's just all kinds of weird.
It's a weird movie.
Yeah, very weird. But yeah, Sonic, huge. I mean, yeah, that gives this year a lot of points already. As far as the game, I like it, but it's not one I go back to play that much.
It's a good game. Like I don't want it to sound like I don't like it at all.
But no, it's
just,
not. It's not one I go back to play a lot. I mean,
yeah.
I used to play it a lot when I was younger, but I mean, it's still really.
I
good.
do nowadays. I way prefer Mario games over Sonic
Yeah.
games.
Next, let's talk about some. Actually, let's skip over to some a little bit more underrated, lesser known ones, maybe.
Okay.
At least to me, F-Zero.
Oh yeah, I played a bunch
Just
of
a
F-Zero
great-
this week.
Just a great racing game. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty simple. I mean, you race.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't have really power-ups or anything, really. You're just going fast.
Yeah.
Going fast, and you got to get those drifts right, get those corners right.
I found
It's not as nauseating and as frustrating as Super Mario, the original Mario Kart.
Oh yeah, I don't like the original Mario Kart.
The
very
original
much.
Mario Kart and SNES.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No, F-Zero is. I mean,
Everything's just
the
square.
racing game genre. I don't think really took off until the 3D era.
No, the 3D era kicked it
but
off.
there's a few exceptions, and F-Zero is definitely one of them.
Well, and I think they have 3D F-Zeros or
Um,
something now.
Yeah, they did a couple of those. But it controls very well. I think
Controls surprisingly well.
It's very intuitive. I mean, it's
and
just,
you get a real sense
simple.
of speed, and that's the whole point of it, really. And
Yeah. And I appreciate on some of the tracks where it's like, since you bounce off of the edges of the track and you bounce off the other cars, and occasionally you find yourself in a situation where you're just like a fucking ping pong ball bouncing around the track, and then your car explodes.
yeah, but no, it's a fun, fast-paced game. I mean, it didn't make much of a mark, and as far as a series or
Yeah.
IP, but I think it's a good one to know.
Although Captain Falcon was always one of my favorite characters in Smash Bros, and he's from F-Zero.
Captain Falcon's, oh yeah,
Captain
he's
Falcon
from
is-
F-Zero.
Yeah, he's the blue car. That's Captain
Wow.
Falcon. Yeah, they don't like do that until the 64 era.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
He's the blue car.
I think he's the blue car.
Songa plays as
yeah.
a blue car.
Yeah,
That's great. No, but
but
and it showcases.
I just remember the Falcon Punch.
It showcases the
In Smash
SNES's
Bros.
capability. Well, just 16-bit capabilities, where you have, for the first time ever, a moving, changing background where it emulates 3D. Where you have a vanishing point, and it's a 2D texture ultimately.
Yeah,
But it looks
but it does a
like
good
you're
job.
in a 3D world, at least. Yeah. It does a decent enough job, and a lot of these games use that either in really good ways and they don't use it at all.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that's an important one to talk about. Another one I'm going to talk about, and I think it's super overrated because I do not understand it. It is the main reason I played it is because it's like the most 90s thing ever. ToeJam and Earl.
oh yeah,
I played a little bit of it, and I was just like, no. It's very 90s. It's very, imagine roller skate arena carpet.
Yeah,
That's like the backdrop for this game. And you played ToeJam and Earl, two wisecracking rappers from outer space. You're a worm, and you're a...
yeah.
I don't know what the other guy is. He's like a... Yeah, there it is. But I know it's got its fans, and yeah, I think it originally came out in Sega Genesis. Yeah,
It is it's very 90s looking.
yeah, just look at that.
Wow.
But you don't really, I don't get it, man. I mean, you walk around on just a landmass in a void, literally in a void, and yeah, it's jipping and jiving. But it is not. It does ToeJam and Earl for Sega Genesis hold up? The Verge.
I'm curious to see
I don't
what
think
they-
so. I mean, as far as
Yeah.
nostalgia goes, sure. But does that count enough? Because I don't know what you do in this game.
Yeah.
You just like run into people,
just
wacky
looking-
characters.
Yeah, there's
Like,
some girls in a jacuzzi and a lemonade stand.
Yeah, it's just really weird, but I appreciate it for how weird it is. And how unapologetically 90s it is. Like, out of all the games, this is probably the most dated. Not because of graphics, but just because it's so 90s. Like, and... yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, bees. Yeah, don't fall off the edge. But yeah, it's weird. It's an anomaly of games. I don't get it. But I want to talk about it because I know it's got its fans. But...
yeah, the Verge article seems to be a fan. They say,
wow.
Would I recommend this game? This is from 2014.
Oh, wow.
In
Even more
2014, unequivocally.
Just being a friend, after all. Wait, let me read that. It's better to give a present than to receive.
Just bring a friend.
I wouldn't want it. If someone gave me ToeJam and Earl, I'd be like, give me something else.
Yeah.
I'll take a different game.
This person says, going solo is missing the point. Bring another person when you play it.
No, I'm sure if another friend,
That was
you
your
get into
mistake.
some
That was your
hijinks.
mistake.
I guess that's my hijack.
You didn't call me over to play ToeJam and Earl.
We'll have a ToeJam and Earl night. Specifically, like that's the only thing we play. But yeah, I wanted to mention that. It's just really weird and wacky. And, you know, if you love it, good for you. And then I saw you playing Super Soccer.
Yes.
And that came out in 91?
Yes. Super Soccer.
How is it?
I don't like it.
As far as gameplay goes.
It's confusing.
It looked confusing. I couldn't tell who you were.
It took me a while to figure out. Yeah, exactly that. It doesn't tell you what player you're playing as. You just kind of have to, like, not like FIFA where FIFA has it like highlights the player or like Retro Bowl.
It doesn't.
It doesn't do that.
You're just somebody.
I'm sure there's some indication that I was missing. I tried it out because I know you played.
I played Super Tennis.
It's a sister game there, I guess.
I guess
they're kind of similar.
Super Tennis, actually surprisingly pretty good, pretty intuitive for a game that came out 30 years ago, especially a sports game that came out 30 years ago, because they don't have a good track record.
Yeah.
Unless we could talk about Blood Bowl, but I don't think that came out this year.
You know, with Super Soccer, I don't remember what it's called, but a while back I played an old Namco soccer game.
Yeah.
And that controlled better. That made more sense than this. This just didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Didn't look like it made much sense.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell who you were. I don't think you could tell who you were.
I couldn't tell who I was.
And somebody scored.
Yeah, it wasn't me that scored.
But yeah, I played Super Tennis, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward, and you know, not as confusing because it's only 2 players. It's tennis.
Yeah,
and although it is pretty hard, and it's hard to get your character to move as fast as you want them to. You know, to receive. But it, honestly, as far as like a sports game that came out 30 years ago, it's not too bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna try that later.
It's okay.
I like tennis games. I recall playing a like Xbox tennis game with at my friend's house, and they let you make your own tennis players, and we just made like these like 7-foot tall green alien things.
Nice.
So,
what's another one that's not super? Yeah, I got a couple lower tier ones. Well,
I have
lesser known ones.
I have one to mention that we talked about it in our first take.
Okay, what's that?
A Game Boy game.
All right,
came out in 1991. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh yeah, and you actually have it.
I actually have.
You showed me some gameplay, and I couldn't tell who you were or what was. There's Abe Lincoln's.
I think you play as Ted.
Okay,
because there's black hair.
Yeah, it seems like Ted,
but it's a black and white game.
But it said like Australia 1899 or something like that.
1806 or something like that,
and there's a bunch of Abe Lincolns.
It's kind of akin to like the original Mario Bros. Where it's like
not Super Mario Bros.
It's not a side scroller. It's kind of Donkey Kong.
You're in a going up and down an arena.
Yeah, and you have to collect all the coins. I think they're coins.
Yeah, and then you finish.
Yeah, and then you move on to the next level. and you can't touch the enemies. There's no way to defeat the enemies, I don't think. And it's
That's always a
it's
good
weird,
sign.
and it doesn't tell you what they're doing in Australia in 1806 or whatever the hell it takes place. It doesn't tell you that when you start up the game.
It's just
It's
picking
just-
random times. and
You know,
places.
it's just
like-
it's just you load up the game, and it's like a rad pixelated drawing of Bill's
Rad.
head. I actually do like the artwork from it.
Yeah,
No,
No, there's a-
excellent adventure, a bogus journey.
There's a game I really regret not playing for this, but Terminator Judgment Day, which
Check
also
out-
came out this year.
Check out that shit.
Yeah, they didn't do Keanu any favors there, or
Yeah.
either of them.
Yeah, there's
But,
the Game Boy Color
that's
version
good.
of it. And yeah,
Oh, they have the Game Boy Color version.
yeah.
Nice.
And and you boot up the game, and it has the rad picture of Bill and Ted doing a rad pose, and you press start, and it's like Australia, 1806. And it doesn't tell you anything else. And I have no idea what's going on.
I
in
always
that.
love old games like that.
Um,
But since you're talking about Game Boy games, I have the TMNT Cowabunga collection edition or collection.
there it is.
Nice. And Wild Stallions.
Yeah.
But
It's a rad picture.
we have a Bill and Ted episode. Just sponsoring ourselves there. But yeah, I played the TMNT Cowabunga edition. A lot of games, and a couple of them came out in '91. I won't spoil the big one. If you're a Ninja Turtles fan, you'll know.
You better know.
But I played one of the Game Boy games, and yeah, black and white, TMNT, Back from the Sewers. And yeah, it's really simple, just side scroller. You know, you're fighting foot ninjas and everything. You can only play as one turtle. You pick your turtle, and it's black and white, so the only way you know who it is by the weapon they have, not by their bandana.
Yeah.
Although, in the original Ninja Turtle comics, they all had red bandanas.
Yeah.
That's a misconception. I think they added the different colors when the TV show came out.
Yeah.
So it'd be easier to distinguish them
Also,
for toys.
Also, the original comics take place in the Daredevil, like.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically an offshoot of Daredevil. It's
Which-
basically in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, which is
Because it's
Yeah.
the same radioactive ooze that hit Daredevil's eyes that spilt on the turtles.
yeah,
Like they were there when Daredevil.
like literally
they
the
were
same
there.
event.
Daredevil's origin story happened in
and then the ooze goes down into the sewer.
the sewer, and then bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, because the
Ninja
creator was
Turtles.
inspired by Daredevil and all that stuff. And
It's also a lot darker than like.
it's a lot darker than you would think.
Yeah.
It's and there's the Ninja Turtles Last Ronin comics, and they don't reveal which
yeah.
turtle it is, but there's only one turtle left, and going on a big like Old Man Logan style
oh,
adventure.
cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
old and grizzled.
Yeah. But how is the Game Boy?
The Game Boy version, it's actually a lot better than I expected. It has some fun animations in there. I got some screenshots, so maybe I'll post them. There's some cool backflips you can do, but it's very, as far as like the gameplay, the combat, the gameplay, very simple. You hit a guy, they explode, you know,
Nice.
pretty straightforward.
Nothing wrong with simple.
It's got the classic Ninja Turtle, like, in it, like big bosses, enemies, like Rocksteady, Bebop, all that.
nice.
And it's got the music, but it's just the fact that it's black and white, and the fact that, you know, it's a single player experience. You can only play one turtle at a time.
Yeah.
That limits its fun factor. But it's still a lot better than I thought it would be.
There's some good-
And it's cool that they have it on the
There's some cool,
Cowabunga collection.
Oh yeah, there's some cool Game Boy games out there. I can't wait till we get to the a year where the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah. And I played the TMNT Shredder's Revenge, which is like a spiritual successor to one of the games I'm going to talk about in a second. And I beat that, and it's just a really great beat 'em up. It's the same guys that did the Streets of Rage 4,
Yeah.
like reboot, and well, not even reboot, but just sequel, and just really good. And so now I'm playing the Cowabunga edition, and it so happens that one of the best games ever came out in 1991. One of the best beat 'em ups ever.
Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage also.
That did come out in '91.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that Streets of Rage, original Streets of Rage, came out in '91. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, which is the inspiration for the title of the series, Video Games in
Yeah.
Time. But yeah, I mean, it's just great. Yeah, the arcade version came out a couple years earlier in '89, I believe, but then they ported it to the SNES, and it's titled TMNT 4 Turtles in Time. And on that version, you can only pick 2 turtles, but it's just timeless, man. No pun intended, but the combat's just super smooth. The animations are awesome. I mean, there's so much detail and so much fun. It's colorful. The music is nonstop. It's just an awesome action romp. It's fun to play with friends, fun to play by yourself, and it's just a really great game. Just a really good beat 'em up.
It says that
or did it come out earlier?
The arcade version was 91.
Arcade version was 91.
The SNES version was 92.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
but
let's talk about the arcade version. Well, the arcade version, it's gonna be harder,
but it's really good.
But
though.
you get the 4
Yeah.
turtles because you can have 4 players on the big arcade machine, and they also have the arcade version on the Cowabunga collection, so you can
Nice.
play that version too.
Nice.
I prefer playing the SNES version because it's just a little bit friendlier. It's a little easier,
Yeah.
a little bit more fun. But however, as far as like the Cowabunga collection goes, and a lot of these collections, it's like an emulator. You can rewind. You can you can save at any point, and you get as many lives as you want. Like
Yeah.
when it says insert the coin, really you just press the start button.
Yeah.
You don't have to actually insert
do
a
like
coin
arcade
into
games
your Switch.
at home.
But yeah, it's a ton of fun. Great music, great vibes, very colorful, great boss fights, and each turtle has their unique animations, and I just love the details. Like you can throw a foot ninja towards the screen, and he'll come out towards the screen. Like really good use of the graphics of the time, and you get the whole sewer surfing levels and all that. And I beaten the arcade version a few years ago, but I'm playing through it again. It's just a really fun time, and it's got me into the Ninja Turtles again.
Yeah.
I want to get Ninja Turtle stuff now. I gotta watch it's been a long time since I've seen the original movie. Maybe that'd be a good commentary or something at some
That
point.
would be. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Turtles in Time, it's just a timeless game. No,
Yeah.
and it's just a great beat 'em up, and it feels very modern. Like there's a lot of beat 'em ups that I feel like suck. I'm not a huge fan of beat 'em ups actually, because I played a lot of shitty ones, but it's so nice playing a good one. And Turtles in Time is a really good one. And I played Streets of Rage, but I have more experience with Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah, I've
That's
played
what
a,
I played
I've
the
played a
most.
little bit of Streets and Rage. I mean, I don't really have much to say about it because it's a beat 'em up and it's a solid one, but it's nothing more than that, really.
Yeah,
You know.
and I played Double Dragon a lot.
Yeah, I've played a bit of Double Dragon.
And I think that came out.
I don't think I ever played Streets of Rage 2, personally.
Streets of Rage 2 is the one I played the most.
Yeah. But Streets of Rage did come out in 91. It's a pretty important beat 'em up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have 2 great beat 'em ups in 1 year. Very important ones. But yeah, I played Turtles in Time, and yeah, I just love it. And it doesn't feel like what they did with Shredder's Revenge. They basically just made another Turtles in Time game. And yeah, it has some updated animations, but it still has a lot of callbacks, and it has a lot of the same animations because they don't really need to do much else to it. Just have more levels.
Yeah.
And-
Speaking of beat 'em ups as well, mentioning because it's a lot of fans. Double Dragon 3 came out in 91.
Oh, I've never played that one.
I'm not super familiar with it, but a lot of fans of the Double Dragon series. So I thought I'd mention it.
Nice.
Yeah,
91 was huge for beat 'em ups, as we know. So what else I got? Oh, I also played Super Earth Defense Force.
Oh, how's that?
The first of the Earth Defense Force series, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Because you have all those janky, cheap, like, Earth Defense Force games now.
Yeah.
And Super Earth Defense Force it has the benefit of being at least a 16-bit graphics, so it. I feel like bad 3D graphics are more dated, are less timeless. It's just more just like the polygons, like. But because they still release those games with bad 3D graphics, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But they're they just roll them out, But they are fun, and I played Super Earth Defense Force, and you can pick any weapon you want at the start, and I recommend picking the special laser, because the special laser just shoots everything automatically for you.
Yeah.
Makes it pretty easy. But no, it's still a really hard game, though. Like, as soon as you get hit a few times, your ship blows up, and you have to restart from the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's just a side-scroller shooter.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy. I mean, it's cool. But we've been avoiding some of the really big games. So the first one I want to talk about, I'll have one more game I want to talk about that I got to play. Joe and Mac, also known as Caveman Ninja.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one.
I was not familiar at all, but I saw it on the Switch catalog, and it came out in 91, so I was like, let's play it. And yeah, you play as a caveman, and you fight other cavemen, and you fight dinosaurs. And
Nice.
I got to fight a T-Rex in the first level.
Oh, cool.
You throw bones at people. You have a club.
Sounds like a rad game.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. But apparently it was an arcade game originally. Then they ported it to SNES, and I could see how it could be a fun arcade game. And it's but as far as the graphics go, it's more dated than the other ones.
Yeah.
It doesn't have like a appeasing style to me. It's just like, let's just do a 16-bit game and kind of rush it out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have like a particular art style, but it's fun. It's I would continue playing it, maybe.
Nice.
Maybe. Take that with a grain of salt. Take that maybe with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But no, it's a lesser known game that I thought I'd mention. Apparently Duke Nukem came out this year.
Yeah.
Did not realize that.
Not Duke Nukem 3D. The original.
The notable, yeah.
The MS-DOS 91 game, Duke Nukem.
Nice.
And
I heard Duke Nukem, the new one. What is it called? Duke Nukem, like Ultra Deluxe, or what is it called? The latest Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
I heard it really sucks.
All of the Duke Nukem games except
Duke
for like
Nukem Forever. Yeah, I heard that one's really bad.
That's one of the worst.
Just like,
like-
games.
Yeah, it's just a really bad game. Yeah. So,
Oh wow, the top down.
yeah, old Duke Nukem.
Nice.
Duke Nukem 3D, I think, is the only like
Notable one.
good Duke
Yeah, good
Nukem
one, yeah.
game.
Anyways, let's get into. So we already talked about a couple of the big ones. Yeah, Turtles in Time, Super Mario World. Oh, also Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Oh yeah, I like that game.
It's very hard.
Yeah,
I like it though. I like the aesthetic. It's spooky. It's got good music.
it's not
Da,
a
da, 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 da.
yeah, it's not a very long game.
No, it isn't.
Um,
But it is because it's hard.
Yeah, because
If you're perfect at it, yeah, you could
I've-
beat it in like
I've
20
never
minutes.
I've never beaten it, but it's very very unforgiving.
Well, yeah, you get hit twice and you're dead.
Yeah,
And you have to restart all the way. So
it's
It's-
good though.
the Dark Souls of its time.
Yes,
Or one of the Dark Souls of its time.
or maybe Dark Souls is the Super Ghouls and Ghosts
Of its time?
I'm gonna start,
I guess you could
I'm gonna start insisting.
Oh, that's very Ghouls and Ghosts like.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Instead
start
of saying Souls like. Whenever the next From Software game comes out.
yeah, you write a review for it and say it's
It's very Super Ghosts and Ghouls like, actually. No, but you throw the lances, you get different power ups, and you get your armor knocked off, and you're in your boxer briefs.
yeah.
And it's it's fun. But I think out of that genre, that kind of style, there's a game that definitely beats it that came out the same year. Super Castlevania 4.
Oh yeah.
It's a remake of the original Castlevania for the NES. And on our original recording, we just went on and on about how great it is. And it is great. But I do have some complaints this time. Because I'm on one of the last levels. I'm in like stage 8-2.
Yeah.
I tried to beat it before this, but even with the save feature of the emulator on the collection, I got frustrated. And I'll tell you, platforming is not what it's known for.
Yeah, that is the...
And it has some... Later on in the game, there's a lot of platforming sections that are incredibly frustrating. Where the spikes, they kill you instantly. Because everything else, you have a health bar, right? Yeah. And it does damage you, and you can get through it. And if you're good enough with your whip and everything. But the spikes, they kill you instantly. And there's some sections of the game where they're so inconveniently placed. If you're not extremely precise with your jumps, you die and you have to restart. And that's kind of where I got stuck. Somewhere around stage 8, section 2. But anyways, that's my only complaint. I think the platforming sections are a little bit lackluster because they're just so frustrating. And I can imagine playing it back when it came out. Yes, it has the password function, luckily.
Yeah.
But, however, without the convenience of just a quick save function on an emulator,
yeah, it's
it could get pretty frustrating. However, the music, the graphics, the style, the gameplay, it's still fantastic.
I like this game. I had the SNES Classic emulator console.
Yeah.
And I played the shit out of Super Castlevania 4.
Yeah, and I played the shit out of it for this, and it's... Yeah, I mean, it's a classic. I mean, I was getting to the point with the combat, at least, I was getting really good, like with doing my diagonals for the bats or going up, or, and
yeah.
And I love that you can go in different directions with your whip and stuff, and you can even twirl it around to do stuff with.
Yeah.
Get different power-ups. You get the freeze time power-up. I hate those Medusa heads, I will say that.
I do it, yeah.
And I did take screenshots. I got pretty high up in the game. Just to prove it to you, I have screenshots. They're real screenshots. And I love the fact, and I talked to you about this last time, it kind of put me back in that like Dark Souls state of mind where I'm like, I can't just breeze through this. I have to actually pay attention.
Yeah.
At least on the boss fights. Like on the first boss fight, the skeleton rider guy, he killed me the first time because I was just fucking around. And then I actually paid attention to his attack patterns, and then I got him. And then it's throughout the game,
challenging enough,
but it's rewarding. And
but it's not Super Ghouls and Ghosts type of.
No,
relentless.
It's not like just relentless. It's very fair, and like if you die, except for the spikes, those platforming levels. However, they do some really, like in the later stages, there's a stage where the whole backdrop is going around and around and around.
Yeah.
It's really trippy, and it's a really good use of that technology. And then you have parts where you have to jump on the swinging chandelier.
Yeah.
That's frustrating, because basically it's not like it's not like how Mario is, where you can trust that you will jump enough and that you'll make it and you have enough control. Because Castlevania's platforming is not precise.
It's not a platformer.
No,
that's the thing.
It has platforming elements.
Yeah. But
that's really just an action-adventure game.
Yeah.
But however, in all the Castlevanias have this, where you can walk up the stairs. I mean, and not many games you could do that. You would have to just jump to the next platform. But in this one, you walk on... However, I will say, when you're stuck on the stairs, that can be a little frustrating sometimes.
Yeah.
Because your character's just stuck on the stairs. But no, but Castlevania 4 is a classic, and I still love it. But now that I got to play it more, I got a little bit more criticisms. Mostly the platforming sections. It could have done without those or improved on them.
Yeah.
But either way, it's still a really good game. And it's considered, we looked at the list of like games, best games of all time of each year.
Yeah.
And Super Castlevania 4 is one of them. Also one that I don't think either of us got to play for this episode, but the first Civ game came out.
Yeah.
Civilization.
It's kind of a big deal of a game.
RTS.
Yeah. I'm not personally as big of a fan of the Civ games, but I play other RTS games. I'm a big fan of Total War.
Yeah.
That whole franchise, and it owes so much to Civ. Yeah.
Didn't Civ 6 just come out?
Yeah.
Not too
Civ
long
6
ago.
is the most recent one. But yeah, 1991.
But yeah, basically
MS-DOS.
one of the first RTS games.
Yeah. That one is also a big deal. It's where you had the originally it was a glitch in the first game that when you got to a certain level, Gandhi, India,
Gandhi.
because they have like world leaders who are like the leaders. So like Gandhi is India in the Civ games.
All right.
And it was like a glitch where you get to a certain level of progression, and India would become like really nuke happy. And like really aggressive, and it's since
doesn't quite line up.
And it since has become a staple in the franchise of like you get to a certain level, and India becomes like really aggressive, and we'll start nuking.
So
people.
now it's just a staple.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah,
it's like the Gandhi as a world leader in it is their aggression levels like set to 0.
Yeah.
but it would glitch out and like set to 10.
Uh-oh. Which I assume is the max.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But there's a game we haven't talked. Well, and also Final Fantasy IV, but I don't think that's a landmark. I think Final Fantasy wouldn't really get its footing until 7. I think that's the one that really.
Well, 7 they switch it up a little bit. Final Fantasy IV is important because before that game, all the characters were like either you had a jack of all trades hero or you had like generic characters that had a class.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy IV, which in the US was Final Fantasy II,
Because they skipped
2 and 3 in the
and
US.
that was the first sequel.
Yeah.
in the US.
It was the first one in the series that had like unique characters with unique play styles
Yeah.
as your party. Yeah.
I think that was on the SNES console you had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing it some. And it is good.
I like those old Final Fantasy games. They're just very long.
Yeah, they are long. But out of all these games, Mega Man 4 came out. A lot of games came out. But
I want to talk real quickly about
Street Fighter 2.
Street Fighter 2 because I like this game a lot.
Well, I mean, it's a staple of fighting games.
Yeah. I went back and played it recently, and it's just as fun, if not more fun, than some newer fighting games.
It's a staple.
Yeah, and obviously it's so influential because it invented by accident the combo feature of fighting games.
Yeah.
It was just like a glitch.
Really?
Yeah, well, it was not intended, but players found out that just like it was unintentional, but they found out that you could chain together attacks.
Oh, wow.
As a combo. That was not an intentional feature. I guess not glitch isn't the right word, but it was not intentional feature of the fighting system in Street Fighter 2. It was just kind of a side effect of something you could do with it.
And now that's a staple. I mean, you got to do your combos.
Yeah, you have to do
Yeah.
combos in fighting games. And Street Fighter 2 invented it by accident.
That's great.
Yeah. It's probably the most famous players figuring out things that the developers did.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that was the developers didn't intend for combos to be a thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that was a happy accident.
Yeah.
But the last game I think we should talk about, probably I would argue the most notable of this year, just as far as games go. Maybe not necessarily pop culture relevance.
Yeah.
We can give that to Sonic, but Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
I love this game.
That's a game I intend on beating.
Yeah. I really, really like this
It's
game.
just a really good game.
It set the standard for Zelda games, both art style and everything else.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's probably what I said to you last time on our original recording. Out of all these games, all of them, it felt the most modern.
Yeah.
Like it felt like it could have came out now under an indie developer.
Yeah,
You know, like
this could just be a modern game. Like
everything about it feels like modern.
Recently, Square Enix has been coming out with.
It's got a proper save feature,
Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy. These like return to the old school Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
If like Nintendo said like we're gonna do a return to these old school Zelda games, it would be exactly like Link to the Past.
Yeah, well, and then they did Link's Awakening remake, right?
Yeah. There's like a 3D
I still want to get that
toonish art style
Toon Link, yeah.
remake of Link's Awakening.
But Link to the Past, I mean, I just adore everything about it. The music, the art style really helps keep it not as dated because it's 16-bit graphics, but they do such a great job with the sprite designs and like just like Link. He's got pink hair now and he's like a he's the most unique Link I've seen in a while.
I think I think so.
But everything has just a fun. It's not quite cartoony, but it's just got a really good art style. Just a really fun, just like it's a little cartoony. But it just everything about it. I just love the color palette, the way they do the structures and depth and dungeons, like when you go downstairs and stuff. And also with the combat, your sword, you see your sword follow a path.
Yeah, it does
and
this.
You can hit multiple enemies at once.
It does this. Yeah, and it follows a path, and it's not like directly in front of you. It's kind of off to the side slightly, and this arc.
So you can do different angles. And different...
and your enemies hold out their shields and their swords in a way where you have to kind of fence around them.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Well, and you can actually fence with them, which is fun. And just, I got as far. I beat the early quest where you rescue Zelda.
Yeah,
that's as far as I got because then I spent most of my time playing Castlevania.
I got past the first. I got the Amulet of Courage this week.
Nice. And I'm finally out in the world where it just says find a Master Sword, find amulets.
And here's the cool thing it does. So it says like do this stuff, but like you'll go into a dungeon and you'll find you get stuck, like you can't progress. And you're like, why? And then you got to go back out in the world, explore, and find items to help. And you have to go back to the dungeon. But it saves your progress in the dungeon. So if you go in the dungeon, you explore, and you find the map to the dungeon, and then you need to go out and find more stuff.
You don't have to redo everything.
Yeah, when you go back into the dungeon, you still have the map for it.
Yeah.
The enemies respawn, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's
So by the time you get to the final boss of the dungeon, there's a lot of backtracking in the dungeons, so by the time you get to that point, you know the dungeon really well, and you can kind of just like speed your way through the dungeon.
Yeah, it's just, and the whole idea of getting lost in games. I mean, Zelda really helped start that. The original Legend of Zelda, where it's just like, just go. Here's your sword. Go.
Yeah.
Go out in this world. And this one has a little bit more direction because it does have a map and markers for where the dungeons are.
Yeah, this was kind of their. They did the original Zelda. They did Zelda 2: Link's Adventure, which is a weird side-scrolling.
Really
game.
weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's the hardest Zelda game.
Yeah, and I don't like it, Colton.
I don't either. And then this was them going, that was weird.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the original format, but let's
Top
give
down.
you more of a direction, a
little bit more of direction, but it's still very open.
Yeah.
And, Zelda, Link to the Past was considered one of the best games of all time when it came out.
Yeah.
And now we have Breath of the Wild, which is one of the best games of all time also.
Yeah.
So it just shows that Zelda
fans,
at its highest, it's one of the best games you can get.
Different Zelda fans will say,
but Zelda does have its lows.
Yeah, different Zelda fans will say different games are their favorite, but this is always on the list of people argue for this one.
No, as far as 2D Zelda, I don't think you can really beat this.
Yeah, and they came out with it later on the
Game Boy Color
Advance.
Oh yeah, Advance, yeah.
With the Four Swords Adventure.
That I remember playing that version originally. My cousin had it.
Yeah. A good version. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess like official artwork is like Link is blonde. Still,
but in the game he's He's got pink hair.
Yeah,
I mean,
canonically he's blonde, but like, yeah, is pink hair in the actual
the
game.
sprite. Yeah.
Which I like though.
We're not talking about the
I like
soda.
how his little cap like kind of bounces as you run around.
Yeah, and like his animations when you pull items or it's too heavy, you know, and like
Yeah.
and you could throw the pots.
It's
know,
a
that's
really
the traditional
pretty game, and they did a good job.
Just
with
as a
it.
really
Like-
good color palette.
like you said. Like if someone were to make this game now, it has the type of animations and art style that you would expect out of an indie developer.
And also, it's just like I love the addition of I don't remember seeing this in a lot of games of the time or any really where you have to like in the dungeons if it's dark you have to light a torch and it actually lights up the dungeon.
Yeah.
Like that's just a fun feature and just
Yeah.
like something I don't see in a lot of games of that time.
And again, they don't tell you to do that.
but you can.
You just discover that you can.
Yeah.
You know, and
Well,
there's
because I had the lantern
yeah.
and I was like, wait, I'm gonna try lighting up this torch, and voila, it worked.
Yeah, and they do go out eventually.
They do go out eventually,
Yeah.
and the more you light, the brighter the colors become. And
Yeah.
it's not like it has like real ambient light. No, it's a 16-bit game,
Yeah.
but it's cool seeing that actually happen and
Yeah.
seeing that being a thing you can do. I appreciate details in games, and as far as details go, as far as gameplay goes, I mean, this game just tops it. I mean, it's just. It did it when I was playing this. It did not feel like I was playing a 30-year-old game. It felt like I was
Yeah.
just playing a really good game.
That's why that's just it holds up so well.
And like and with Castlevania, yeah, it feels more dated than this one as far as the graphic style goes. But it still felt very good. But it felt like a game of its time. But Link to the Past just felt like a really good game. Just a good Zelda game.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell me it came out, and you could never tell me what year it came out, and I might not be able to guess. I might guess the 90s, but I also might say, oh, was this just like a retro remake of something?
It is
It's
also, fun fact, one of the only Zelda games to have gotten an actual sequel.
Really?
Yeah, on the Nintendo
A
DS.
Link Between Worlds.
Link Between Worlds, they did on the DS.
Wasn't every Zelda game a sequel?
Well, most Zelda games
The
are
different
like
timelines
they're
or whatever?
they all take place in the same timeline, although there's a timeline split.
Except for
It's-
Breath of the Wild.
which
like,
maybe
way
takes
in the
place
fu-
in
post-apocalypse?
all of them, maybe. I don't know. It's weird. They have different timelines and stuff like that. But I mean, like, you know, the idea in the Zelda franchise is that Zelda and Link are reincarnations of like. So in Skyward Sword, which is the game that came out before Breath of the Wild, that's the first canonical like game in the timeline.
Wait, which one?
Skyward Sword
Skyward Sword
is the first game canonically in the timeline.
Really?
It's the origin of the Master Sword and the origin of Link and Zelda as like, and every Link you play as is a reincarnation of that Link. They're not the same person. And same with Zelda. But there's a couple games where you actually do play as the same Link, and I don't know if it's technically the same Link in A Link Between Worlds, but it is like an actual story sequel to A Link to the Past.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's a fun fact. And we talked about this on our first recording, but so here's on Wikipedia the list of like the best games of all time, and all the years before this, yeah, they have some big years, but 91 is huge. I mean, yeah, you have the first Civ, Final Fantasy IV, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past. You have, oh yeah, Monkey Island 2. We forgot to talk about that this time.
Yeah. That's a good game.
They just made the sequel to that one, I think.
Yeah. The sequel, and they re-released
You can get the originals.
The originals where
Switch?
you can like switch between the art styles and stuff.
Nice,
The new art
that's
style
cool.
and the old one.
And so Monkey Island 2, Sonic the Hedgehog, Street Fighter 2, and Super Castlevania 4
Yeah.
all came out in 91.
Yeah.
And also 91, while it wasn't the year 16-bit came out, it was the year that really ushered it in commercially with the SNES.
Yeah, because
the
Genesis technically started 16-bit,
but this was the huge wave of that generation.
People consider the era to have started with the release of the SNES.
Yeah. So really great year, really great games, and we got to play them, which is great. And next time we do this, we will do the same. We will play the games that we can, and we'll talk about it. But anyways, running out of time here. But so we ranked 2012 a C.
Yeah.
And I remember on our original recording of this year, we ranked it an S. Would you still rank this year an S?
I would still rank it as an S tier. Yeah.
I would too. I have a little bit more reservations this year, mostly my frustrations with Castlevania 4's platforming sections. But I can't let that drag the whole year down.
Yeah.
And I still love that game, and I'm still going to beat it.
Still a good game.
But you have a new console, the SNES. You have 16-bit graphics. Yeah, there's my timer. And really great games. You have Sonic, huge pop culture staple. You have Link to the Past, still one of the best games ever.
Yeah.
You have Super Castlevania 4. You have Super Mario World. You have Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Even though it's hard, it's still a good game and influential. And you have the first Civ. You have Monkey Island 2. I mean, it's a big year. It's a really good year.
Great year.
It may change its position depending on other years we review in the future. If we believe a different year is just so much better, it might go down to A.
Yeah.
But I think right now, let's keep it a S.
For now,
S tier.
S tier, yeah.
S tier year for video games. And 2012 is C tier still. It's always
that seems right for 2012.
There was only one game that kept it from being D tier.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's our episode on the video games that came out in 1991. We will see you next week for a completely different episode, but we will also see you for another
or the same episode.
Or the same thing again. We'll just keep doing this episode over and over.
Just record it again.
Yeah. But we will continue this series. We'll spread it out throughout our episodes, but do plan on one of these. Again, if you enjoyed this, we will pick a completely different year randomly with a year generator and everything. And it'll be a fun time because we get to play video games and talk about them.
Yeah, so hopefully we don't get a weird year like 2007.
Watch us get 2007. Either way, we will see you next week for whatever we do. Follow us on Instagram at OddDrunkPod. It's ODDDRO. I mean not DRO. ODDDRUNKPOD. OddDrunkPod at Instagram. And give us a rating or review on whatever you listen to. That really helps people find us if you give us a good review. And on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, all you got to do is give us some stars. You don't have to write anything if you don't feel like that. But we would appreciate any feedback. And if you want direct contact with us, just hit us up at OddDrunkPod on Instagram. And that's where we have all our pictures that go along with our episodes and everything. And if you want to get really intimate with us, check us out on our Facebook group, the OddDrunkPod Squad. Yeah. And everything I talked about will be in our link tree in the description. And just keep on.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Tell your grandma.
Say, when you're at Thanksgiving dinner, say to your grandma, hey, grandma, have you listened to the Odd Drunk podcast? Yeah, make that a topic of conversation. Hey, as soon as your grandparents get into politics, mention us. Talk about the Odd Drunk podcast. That's a good icebreaker that will derail the topic. Yeah, as soon as someone if mentions anything political, be like, oh, have you heard of the Odd Drunk podcast? Yeah. They don't get political that much. We try not to. No, out of other podcasts I listen to, we really don't. So I like that. It happens, but it happens sometimes. But we're just here to have a jolly good time. Yeah, we're having a jolly good time, and we hope you have a jolly good time with whatever you're doing. Yeah. Anyways, we'll see you next week. Roll that outro.
This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The Odd Drunk Podcast recommends you follow their Instagram and join their Facebook group for more fun content. To visit all of our current streaming and social media platforms, visit the link tree in the description. If you enjoy the show, we would be appreciated it if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts. The Odd Drunk Podcast would like to remind you to drink responsibly and not to drink and drive. Okay Colton, you can roll the outro now.